Wholeness, love, and power to you. Goddesslanexa here. And if you can hear the sound of my voice, hey, love. I'm so happy and grateful that you're joining me today. Please excuse my face, my sound, how I'm showing up today. If I look like I got beat up, if I look like I'm in a fight with nature, I am. And they're winning real bad. Like, seriously. Spring is springing and the pollen and everything in the air is starting to do what it do. So my face is dry, it's itchy, it's red, it's swollen, my sinuses are inflamed, and all of the things are happening. So I'm still choosing to show up because I know that I can't allow things like this to stop me from doing what I want to do and I'm supposed to be doing. And the old Lanexa probably would have allowed this to be the thing to stop her from showing up unapologetically and authentically as herself. But this is who I am, and this is also a part of myself. I have allergies, and yeah, it's just here, it's that season, and we're not going to let allergies stop us from being who we are, showing up. So we just gonna flow through it, raspy and all, beat up face and all. This is the first episode, so it's only gonna get better from here. So yeah, y'all, thank y'all for your patience as we get through this episode together. We're trying to keep the sniffles at a minimum, but I just want to let y'all know that we are battling right now. Look at me. But anywho, before we get started with every experience, it is my goal for us to just take a moment, to just have a moment. It doesn't matter if you're at home right now chilling, it doesn't matter if you're driving or working out. If you can hear me, then we hear. All you really need to be a part of this moment is to be intentional and aware of what's going on. Um, so, if it's okay with you, I would love for us to just take a moment and share some breaths together. When you take a moment throughout your day and just take a second to just breathe, it gives yourself a moment to remind yourself that you are here, you are present, you are aware, you are intentional, and that all is well. And ultimately, all is well. So we might as well just give ourselves a moment to remind ourselves of that, especially when we live in such a busy world like we live in today, where very rarely do we just take a second to just breathe and just be. So, if it's okay with y'all, I would love for us to go through a series of 3 breaths together. Y'all can do it on my time or y'all can do it on y'all time, whichever one works better for y'all. But we're going to inhale for about 3 seconds, hold for about 3 seconds, and release for about 3 seconds. Or however many seconds you feel you need to get through your breaths. The purpose of this is just to take a moment and ground yourself in the present, okay? All right. At the sound of the D. Ladies, how y'all feeling? Fellas, y'all alright? I hope y'all feel just a little bit better. I almost felt like I was going to sneeze like 7 times, but I do feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more here. So that's ultimately what this moment is about. It ain't about nothing super fancy. It ain't about reaching an ultimate awakening. It's just literally taking a moment to just breathe, just to allow your heart rate to just reset for a second and just be. So, before we get into today's topic, you guys, I'd like to start off with our BBB report of the day. Yes, that's bragging about businesses. It is my goal to share some really dope people, some really dope events, some really dope businesses, and things that are going on in our community, in our society, in the culture. That way we can stay connected with one another and keep the prosperity and abundance flowing in the community, you know what I'm saying? So today's BBB report, we're going to shine the light on Cinnamon Brown Entertainment and Ethan X. Evans with seventh level agency and productions. Yes, we're going to shine the light on them today. So let's go ahead and shine the light on them.
Shine a light on them. Shine a light on them. Shine a light on them.
Cinnamon Brown Entertainment recently released a short film called Cuff back in 2023. It was a romantic dramedy that I had the pleasure of being an extra in. And it was just so dope that Ethan, he called me up and was like, hey, Nex, I think I got an opportunity that would be great for you. So what's up? And of course, you know me, I'm like, okay, let's do it, So he gave me the opportunity to be an extra in Cuffed, and it was a really dope opportunity. I got to be me in the daggone film. So yeah, it was really dope. If you haven't checked it out yet, be sure to go check it out. I will leave information in the description box below so that way you can find more information about it. But the level up was moving forward. I was casted recently in the year to be Earlene in their most newest dramedy called Toxic. Yes, it is called Toxic, you guys. I think it's going to be really dope. It's a funny, crazy storyline. And just to see how Cinnamon Brown's creativity and Ethan X. Evans' creative direction and ability to just work with a team, watching all of that come together has been a really dope process. And so we're going to give a big shout out to them today. If you have not, like I said already, follow them on social media, be sure to follow them at, I believe it's cinnamon_brown_entertainment, and Ethan is at Ethan X Evans. There you can find all of the information about Toxic as well as Cuffed and any future productions that are bound to be needing some extras or some roles being filled in the future. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. You can also find more information about Toxic at www.toxic.themovie. There you should be able to see more information about the cast as well as the trailer, which should be coming soon. I know that the premiere should be somewhere around mid-June or so, or mid-2024. So that would be around June time. So y'all just stay tuned for that. And also, if you have a business event or something dope that you think that I should share, be sure to comment down below. That way I can see it and everyone else that's watching this video can see it. Also, that helps it so that way if I miss it, somebody else might like it and it'll help me see it, and that way we could just circulate it. Keep everybody in the loop of what's going on, and that way it helps you be seen by others and connect with others. Every show, it is my goal to at least highlight at least one business or two. So make sure you comment your business below. You never know, it could be you that I'm shouting out next. All right. All right. So we're back, and in my experience, I like to start off with a little segment called Something Something Just Ain't Right. And on this segment, basically, it is a segment where we pick a topic that is common or popular in today's society, and we take a further look beyond the lens. We further delve into the topic and see what we can pull apart from it and what we can find in as far as solutions. So today's something something topic of the day is, can I get a drum roll, please? Today's topic of the day is being, living, unapologetic, and authentically. Mm, 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 mm. What does it mean to be unapologetic? What comes to your mind when someone says unapologetic or unapologetically? Do you think about all of the things you do that you shouldn't do? Do you think about who you are right now? Do you think about someone else? What comes to mind when you think of the word unapologetically? Well, according to dictionary.com, unapologetically means in a way that does not accept fault or shows no regret or shame. Let me read that again. Unapologetically means in a way that does not accept fault or shows no regret or shame. And when you think about it like that, think about it, showing no regret or shame. There's a lot of things people do that they don't have no regret or shame about. Are they always doing it unapologetically or what? Like, how does that work? Well, anywho, I wanted to know what the community, what the world thought about it, and how often people felt like they actually were living authentically and unapologetically. So, I went to the streets. Yes. And I talked to some people, random people, people that I knew, people I didn't know, and I got some answers. And, well, these were some of their results. Check it out. What comes to mind when you hear the word unapologetic?
Unapologetic. Bluntness. I think of bluntness. I think of something they see. If your nose is snotty, I tell you, unapologetically, your nose is snotty.
So I was gonna say, when you hear the word unapologetically, do you think of the same thing that you think of as unapologetic, or what comes to mind when you think of being unapologetic, or living unapologetically, or doing things unapologetically?
A lot of straightforward, awkward moments. I think of unapologetically living. You're gonna have a lot of people gonna look at you in an awkward way a lot of times, but it's like unapologetically. If you're living unapologetic, you don't give a damn. You don't care. You know what I'm saying? If they look at you a crazy way because that's you, it's genuine.
How often would you say you live your life unapologetically?
Mm. I would have to say about a about a 4.
Okay.
Not because I don't go unapologetically all the time because I have children. You know.
What comes to mind when you hear the word unapologetic or unapologetically?
Um, what comes to mind when I hear the word unapologetic or unapologetically? I think liberation, to be honest. When you kind of have that mindset or just go about being unapologetic, the action usually for me is in terms of why am I, explaining myself, kind of thing. And you're more so just taking your power. You understand like who you are or what your capabilities are, and it's like regardless of the person or people who may not know. Like Drake's album, "Sorry for Your Loss," but you just respectfully having respect for yourself. No matter what or how that wavers people.
And on a scale of 1 through 5, how unapologetic do you feel you are in your life? 1 being never, 5 being all the time.
Um,
And what do you think influences this outcome in reality?
I want to say 4, but I think the people who know me deeply would probably be like, "You are a 7," because I think what influences me, starting back, I think just the women who raised me. I was raised by a lot of unapologetic women, and kind of where I'm from, I think sometimes, you adapt this mindset of like you do what you have to do, kind of thing. So when you, I think, come from hardships and then you triumph a lot and you understand just things from life, being unapologetic and walking in the light in good action will always be good.
When you hear the word unapologetic, what comes to mind, or unapologetically?
I mean, just doing things without feeling like sorry for it. Basically, long story
On
short.
a scale of 1 through 5, how unapologetic do you feel you are in your life? 1 being never, 5 being all the time, and what do you feel influences that?
It's a lot of variables. It depends on what's going on. I would say generally though, at least I'm probably about a 4 or 5. I probably move pretty confidently and comfortably, and like whatever decisions I make, I try to make morally sound decisions that I can
Very
not
interesting.
feel bad about.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting too, if I say so myself. So when I thought about it, what does it mean for me to be unapologetically? For me, being unapologetic or unapologetically means no longer deciding that I have to accept what society has told me I have to be, or have to say, or have to do in order to be accepted, to be heard, to be liked, or to be understood by the mass majority. For me, being unapologetically means showing up as my true self, whether that's in light, whether that's in dark, whether that's with a raspy voice and sinusy, excuse me, trying not to cough every 5 minutes. Even if that's the case, it's me showing up how I am as I am, unafraid of being laughed at or rejected or whatever the case may be, or invalidated because of my conditions or my circumstances, because ultimately my message stays the same no matter how I present myself on the outside. The message that I have to give to the world is still my message, you know. Being unapologetically for me also is no longer feeling the need to dim my light to be accepted or to make other people feel comfortable because their inability to handle or digest all that I am or the depths of my being, you know. Um, I think that being unapologetically or unapologetic is being aware and being mindful of who you are, where you are, what you say, the things that make up you, and accepting it for yourself, not looking to the outside world or external world for validation of the things that you already know to be true about yourself and who you are, you know. That's what I think unapologetically means for me. On a scale of 1 through 5, how I think I'm living on a daily basis, I would definitely say a smooth 4.5, because I feel like there's always more that you can do to really step into your authentic self. But 5, because we also live in a world where sometimes you have to kind of shield who you are just for the sake of not having a bunch of people all in your face, all in your information, you know. Ultimately, I feel like me being at a 4.5 is because of my level of awareness and acceptance and my level of discernment and ability to just be who I am and accept who I am, you know. And so I think a 4.5 is good. Um, Everybody would love to be at a 5, but it takes a certain level of maturity and awareness, I think, to be at a true level 5 of unapologetically being, because sometimes when you choose to show up and be unapologetic, you do that knowing that there's going to be some people who aren't happy, who aren't going to be comfortable, and you have to be willing to be able to sacrifice some things that you may love or experiences that you may want to have because of this, knowing that you're going to be authentic, you know. And I know for some people, which hasn't really been my case, unfortunately, which can be a pro and a con. Like in the work world, we tend to wear masks and show up in a way that isn't our true self because we feel that we have a specific image to portray. Um, and I just say, unfortunately for me, because I show up very authentic at work. I show up as Lanexa. I show up very loud. I show up very happy. I show up very present. Some days I show up very silent. Some days I show up very withdrawn and secluded or isolated within my own self. But I show up present, you know. And ultimately, I think it just cultivates a better experience of Lanexa, because no matter what you may say or what you may feel about how I am or who I am, one thing you can always say is Lanexa is going to always be Lanexa. Lanexa is Lanexa, you know. And I accept who I am in all aspects of myself, the beautiful things and the not so beautiful things, you know, all of the things that people like to hee kiki about. I've learned to accept at a very early time in life, because I was one of those self sabotagers that was so quick to bring out all of the shit that was wrong with me, that I never took the time to actually pay attention and highlight all of the great things. And I think that a lot of us grow up in a world where when we are our most authentic selves, when we are our true selves, the selves that is full of the most life, the full of the most joy, the full of the most love, we are usually met with some type of obstacle or resistance or opposition that makes us feel judged or not accepted, makes us feel rejected, makes us feel ridiculed, or makes us feel some type of way about whatever it is that we are so passionately or authentically showing up as. And when we experience these type of circumstances, it closes us off. It causes us to put up a shield and cover up some of the most sacred parts of ourselves to protect ourselves from being hurt or being judged or being ridiculed. And sometimes we lock that thing up and throw away the key, and we lose the key, and we don't ever get back to that old spot where we locked away a true authentic part of ourselves, and we ultimately lose it, you know what I'm saying? Or sometimes we end up in circumstances where we find the key, and then we sitting there scared as hell to open up the door to Pandora's box because we just don't know how deep it's going to be, you know? And I feel like when we're in those certain type of circumstances, we often limit ourselves from being who we're supposed to be and really just showing up for ourselves, you know? I know that for me personally, like, I have always been a very expressive and rather confident person, but I have found myself in many circumstances where I wanted to be accepted by a group, so I allowed myself to be quiet in spaces where a spirit was calling me to speak up on things that I was sent there to bring awareness to or to shake up spaces in, you know what I'm saying? Or I know that there have been times where I'm like, well, I don't want to be too this or to that, or I don't want mine to not be enough, so I'm going to do this instead. That way, it's enough for the people around me, whether that was me giving too much of myself or not giving enough of myself because of the fear of however other people will receive me, you know. And I know that for me, that's something that has been a thing for a very long time. I have gone through many years of seeing my light, knowing my worth, knowing who I am, but being afraid to fully step into it because I've seen how people can love and hate me for the same things. I've watched people um, tell me great things about me just to sit there and try and pick those great things apart or try and make me feel less than, you know. And when you experience those type of things in life, you know, eventually you start to think like, damn, is it me? Did I do something wrong? Like, you know, and if you don't have the self-awareness and the self-validation within yourself to know that it's not you or that you're not the problem, you will punish yourself and you will put yourself through a repetitive cycle of confusion and trying to process something that wasn't originally yours to even process from the jump, you know. I know, like, every time that I was called to show up in a way and I didn't because I felt like somebody else was doing it and I didn't want to step on nobody's toes, or I felt like I didn't want to wear something because I didn't want to wear it this good, or I felt like if I showed up and did this podcast, that by me doing it, it would be something repetitive of what everybody else is doing or wouldn't have any value to the people that it could have value to. That was like me taking a big ass bucket of water and throwing it on my fire. Gratefully, my fire still burning, but you know, even if it's a big fire, you keep throwing water on it long enough, it will dim out some. It may not go completely out, but you will dim the fire and you will lose a lot of your spark, you know. And nowadays, that spark is so important. That spark is what keeps us authentic and it gives us that opportunity to be the difference in the world. That spark is the authenticity that the world be lacking because they be so caught up in what everyone else says and what everyone else does. You know, we live in a society nowadays where instant gratification is a thing. Everybody wants to be seen, heard, and understood right then and there. Everyone wants to be validated. And I mean, I get it, but at the same time, when you're looking for the external world to give you something that God and Spirit has already granted you within, and you're looking around for everyone else to tell you something that you already know is true, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And myself, like, hey, Lanexa, this is who you are. This is who you are in light, and this is who you are in darkness. And it's okay. It's beautiful, all of it. It can get very dark, but it's okay because some aspect of that darkness protects you. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how you show up. If you are extra as hell and you are a bubbly person, but you got an attitude that is a very protective aspect of yourself that makes sure that you don't fall for the okie doke, don't reject who you are, accept who you are. Allow yourself to embrace those different things that make up you because you were given them for a reason. Nothing in life is all positive, just like nothing in life can be all negative. In order for things to be balanced, we have to have a balance of light and dark. So, yeah, you may be an amazing person and you may be beautiful, and yeah, you may snore too. But that's the beauty of who you are. Being authentically yourself is knowing that, hey, I'm gonna come to the sleepover, but I also gonna snore too. And y'all might not be comfortable with that, but y'all can break some sleeping aids or so and so. But I still deserve to be a part of this sleepover, even though I snore. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that ultimately, being authentic is embracing the parts of yourself that the world has told you not to love, or the parts of yourself that society has said, oh nah, if you got this, you can't be cool, you can't be loved, you can't be accepted, you can't be down. Cause it's like, says who, bruh? Like, for all you know, somebody else might be going through that same experience or might have that same condition, and they was just waiting for somebody else to say, yeah, bruh, this is me and this is who I am. So they'd be like, yo, this is me too, bro, and you're not alone, and I'm here with you, and you are supported. Most of the time, we be seeking validation when we do be needing validation from the wrong daggone people. Find the right people if you're going to be even seeking something. Seek it from people who have the experience, the knowledge, the emotional maturity, the spiritual maturity to be able to be guiding you in any direction, whether you need guidance, acceptance, validation, or whatever the case may be. Now, when it comes to finding solutions on just learning how to live more authentically and more unapologetically, I have three that I think are very essential to just being more authentic and embracing who you are. And the first one would be taking time to be alone, learning who you truly are at the core. A series of therapy, spiritual counseling, and solitude helped me a lot with this. I always knew what others thought of me, whether they thought of me in positive or negative. But it was like, well, what did I truly resonate with? Yeah, I know what they're saying, but do I even resonate with what they're saying? Can I embody this? Can I say, yeah, I agree with this? Like, can I accept these terms and conditions? Before I was able to check that box, I had to learn who I was at the core, take time to identify my values, what things were me, what things were not me, what things were just a part of the environments that I was in. So that way I could truly discern between what was and what wasn't. And it just really took a lot of identifying through different layers, like going through the different layers, as Shrek says.
Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it.
Oh, you both have layers. Oh.
We have layers, and in our layers comes different cycles and seasons of all of the different things that we've gone through, our whole genetic makeup of past lives, present lives, future lives, whatever the case. All of these things are simultaneously trapped into one experience that are broken down into different fragments in these layers. And so I think that taking time to be alone gives you the opportunity to see what comes up and not to be afraid or ashamed when it comes out, because it's ultimately who you are. That demon in the closet you scared of, it looks big because it looks so far away, but when you get up on it, you realize it was just a smaller version of you that was afraid. And so Sometimes when you're alone, you allow yourself to find and sit with those different things that come up, those ugly, not so comfortable things, and you're able to feel your way through and process some of what it is that comes up. And ultimately, that helps you move forward in life and be able to accept and embrace what you find. Some things you're not going to always like, some things aren't going to always be comfortable, but it's okay. Like, everything in life isn't going to be comfortable, everything in life isn't going to always make sense in a way that is going to bring you pride and joy to speak on. There's going to be some dark things that come up, but it's okay. Embrace those things too, because they too need love and they too need acceptance, which is kind of what number 2 is, which is accepting what you see, what comes up, and allowing yourself to vulnerably be. If you realize it, it takes no effort in being. It takes no effort to be. It only takes effort to try and be what we simply are. So choosing yourself first is the ultimate thing. You have to choose yourself first. If you lose people along the way, so shall it be. They weren't supposed to come along with this journey, and that's okay. We have to be okay with knowing that along our journey, some people are going to come, some people are going to go, some people are still going to be with us, and that's okay. Let them be and let them do what they do. We have to make room for us and then make room for other people. We can't be the best thing in the world to the world if we're not the best thing in the world to ourselves. So the only way we can do that is just by truly being, not trying to be ourselves, but just being ourselves. And that's who you are when you wake up, and you're not worried about who's looking at you, who's looking out the window, who's what, when, where, and why, and saying what. Being yourself, just being. Accepting who you are and allowing yourself to only be is number 2. Number 3 is setting some boundaries, which can ultimately be the hardest thing, but will always be one of the best things to do. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, when I first had to start setting some boundaries, I was terrified. Like, that shit felt uncomfortable. I didn't really know if it was really gonna work out. I almost second guessed myself every other time I set some boundaries, because it was like, damn, like, I know this is like an act of self love, and I know this is a way to remind myself and others, like, I'm serious about me and I'm serious about this, but like, this is really uncomfortable. But let me tell you, some of the hardest things and some of the most worth it things in life sometimes bring on the most uncomfortablest feelings. So, not allowing yourself to be conformed or pushed aside or bent or broken is a powerful thing. And the only way that I've been able to do that is by setting boundaries, letting people know what I will and will not accept, who I am and who I'm not, and what it is and what it ain't. And it started with me first, and then it started with others. So before we wrap this up today, we're going to get into a little segment called My Mama Told Me to Tell You. Some cases it's going to be mama, sometimes it's going to be daddy, sometimes it might be your bald headed grandpapa or grandmammy. Nah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that about your grandma. Ultimately, what the segment is, short and sweet segment where we ask for some words of wisdom from the elders. The elders may not always be someone who is super duper old, but someone that just happened to know a little something in life. So we just ask them to drop us with a little seed of wisdom, drop it in our soil for us to plant, water, cultivate. So today's My Mama Told Me to Tell You is, in a world where we can get caught up in what and who the world wants us to be, the best thing you can do is
Be yourself. Discover who you are in so many different instances and different situations. You can routinely be yourself.
Be yourself and be real. You know what I'm saying? That's the most organic, original thing.
Be your motherfucking self. For sure, for sure. That's always the answer. You gotta be yourself, man. You got to. For sure.
And there you have it, you guys. And as for my response, in a world where we can get caught up in who and what the world wants us to be, the best thing we can do is just sometimes turn it off. Turn off all of the outside noises. Turn off the TVs. Turn off social media for a little bit. Turn off what it is that the expectations of outside world and tune in within. Go within. Tap into who you are within. Find out what you want, what you think makes sense, who you are, what you want to be, what you want to do. And if that aligns with who you are, tune it out. Be who you want to be. Don't be afraid to just listen to yourself. You know, most of the time, the outside world is noisy. When we tune in within ourselves and tune in with God or Spirit or however you choose to identify with the higher power that guides us, you find so much more. So, in a world where we can get caught up with what the world wants us to be, I say the best thing you can do is tune it out and go within. And that's my little 2 cents. I'm no elder, but I've been here before a couple of lifetimes. So, yeah. Anywho, our final segment of the show is called Making a Moment Out of Minute. Today's moment is sponsored by the Shadow Side. And the words we leave you with is this: Lord, give me the patience. Because if you give me the strength, I'm going to need some bail money to go with it. I don't know, that was a not so funny quote about honoring your boundaries. Give me the patience. Because if you give me the strength, I'm going to need some jail money. Honor your boundaries, love. That's all I have. I want to thank y'all so much for tapping in with me today on the very first episode of Looking Beyond the L. I'm so happy and grateful that you all listened this far. If you actually made it to this far, just drop a L below, a L for love, a L for life, a L for longevity, a L for Lanexa, because we wishing all of these great things into this experience that I'm working on here. Make sure that you subscribe and you follow me at Lanexa Denise. Follow me at whatever other Instagram that you decide you want to follow me on. Of course, I'm going to have all of that information listed below. Know that it will get better from here, you guys. I had to really get past the first step, and that was just making the first video. And I just thank y'all for listening, and I thank y'all for being here. And I just have some really great things on the way. So I pray that it just continues to come together and it gets better, and y'all can see some of the greatness that I've been working on since 2019. All right, you guys. Until next time, stay beautiful, and I will see y'all soon. Peace.